nature and men have been forced into unusual and perilous partnerships by life and even maritime warfare. The military has come into contact with many different water species throughout history while conducting operations, and these encounters have bred both respect and dread for our oceans. There have been occasions when the military waged war with sea creatures and times when they fought back, ranging from near encounters with predators to previously inexplicable events that have enhanced scientific understanding. Sea monsters have a long history, but myth and legend are not relevant to this discussion. These 10 examples of actual battles between fighting armies of the world and creatures of the deep. 10. The Gulf of Tonkin. Following an encounter between American and North Vietnamese warships in 1964, the Vietnam War began. The US Maddox stood at the epicenter of this intricate relationship. To obliterate North Vietnamese torpedo boats, 380 shells were fired one night, along with many depth charges. Air support, however, reported not sighting any boats. Todd Newberry, a marine biologist, was given a description of the night's events in 1966 by a sonar engineer. The torpedo-looking things on the radar behaved quite oddly, as if they had a mind and will of their own. According to Newberry, these were unusual creatures called pyrosums. Pyrosums are a multicellular creature that may grow to a length of up to 60 feet and consist of tens of thousands of individuals. Think of a massive jellyfish that resembles a tube and has no tentacles. They can be noticed at a distance by the bright light they emit in addition to being seen on sonar. They are called pyrosums, which is Greek for fire body. Because of this explains why on that fateful evening, reports of lights that were mistaken for enemy cockpits and searchlights were made. 9. A Stein Squid incident. A United States Navy frigate named Stein was engaged in secretive special operations in the Pacific Ocean in 1978. Its technology for detecting underwater threats abruptly stopped functioning. The sonar system of the ship had large slashes measuring 4 feet in length, and large teeth were found within the cuts. The ship was compelled to return to the dock, where this discovery was made. The teeth-like structures were discovered to be claws from a squid suction cup upon closer examination. Scientists found a squid that was about 43 feet long and weighed more than 2,000 pounds. According to reports, the claws removed from the Stein belonged to a squid that was at least 3 times larger. F.G. Wood, a Navy biologist who examined the claws, was unable to rule out the idea that this was a previously unknown species. Sperm whales hunt the largest kinds of squid, and these animals are frequently seen with significant scarring and wounds, damage that resembles that caused by sonar. Because these two species are prone to conflict, it's possible that the gigantic squid mistook the ship for a whale. 8. Sharks and WWII. The U.S. Navy's Research and Development Division took into account shark attacks at the start of the 1940s, at the height of World War II. It was determined that weird things floating in the water were of no interest to sharks and posed insignificant hazard to personnel. It was mistakenly believed that the loud disturbance of a sinking vessel would scare off sharks. The fact of the matter is that prior wars had not involved sharks. The World War I naval battles were fought in icy waters. Sharks weren't a problem until the WWII naval combat in tropical waterways. Sharks were undoubtedly a concern in the case of Lieutenant Arthur George Reading, who together with radioman Everett Hardin Ullman survived the crash landing of his plane at sea. Reading recalled how he spent 16 hours using his binoculars to fend off sharks when his plane crashed in 1943. He saw Ullman get hurt. A mist of blood flooded the sea. 5 sharks attacked him repeatedly, ripping his leg away. Reading broke his jaw when a tail slammed him as he struggled to keep his friend afloat while brandishing his binoculars. When they split up, Ullman was overpowered and slain. 7. The worst shark attack in history. A U.S. Navy cruiser named Indianapolis was dispatched in 1945 on a mission to deliver enriched uranium for the Little Boy atomic bomb. With a crew of 1,195, it left for the Philippines after completing its mission. It came into contact with a Japanese submarine shortly after midnight, which opened fire and sunk the ship in 12 minutes. The remaining 900 members of the crew were left adrift in the seas after 300 men perished along with the ship. Unfortunately, this was just the start of their issues at sea for those who were fortunate enough to survive the initial onslaught. The sound of the explosions, the smell of blood, and the writhing of bodies in the water drew hundreds of sharks to the debris. They started by plucking off the dead and injured before moving on to the surviving. The sailors resisted oceanic white-tip shark attacks for 3.5 days before they were saved by using whatever they could find. Only 316 sailors were still alive when the rescue boats came due to dehydration, exposure, and several sailors choosing suicide rather than face the sharks. Before we continue, PLS smash the subscribe button and leave a like. Let's get on with the video. 6. Military attack Dolphin. Since the early 1960s, various military have employed dolphins and whales. They can do a variety of helpful jobs, like providing tools and spotting mines and torpedoes. With some training, divers' face masks can be removed by trained dolphins, forcing them to surface. Alternately, it can tag them by attaching a clamp to one of their legs or deploying a floating buoy, allowing a boat to rapidly pull them in. Rumors claim that dolphins may be fitted with a face harness to which a variety of fatal implements, such as pistol bang sticks and the wasp knife that releases explosive gas, can be fastened. Most recently, evidence of a dolphin face harness with a spear gun attachment has been provided by Hamas in Palestine. Hamas asserts that this belongs to one of their divers was chased by an Israeli dolphin that was described as a hostile aquatic unit. If you enjoyed the video so far, don't forget to smash the subscribe button, leave a like and comment on topics you would want us discuss in our future videos. 5. UB-85 Sea Monster. Captain Gunther Kretsch and his men were taken prisoner by the British destroyer HMS Brilliant on April 30, 1918. When questioned, Kretsch informed the British that his submarine was damaged and was unable to dive, alleging that a sea monster had attacked and caused the damage. The creature was described as having horns, small, deep-set eyes, a short head, and heaps of horrific teeth. The enormous, admittedly strange-looking thing got onto the ship, filling it with water. But now that records have been made public, the truth is out. Kretsch had been chilly and insisted on a heater being installed in the officer's compartment. According to a crew member by the name of Godchammer, running cables from the sub through the main hatch was necessary for this, meaning that it couldn't be properly sealed. The hatch was instructed to be closed and the sub was sent into a dive when the British battleship was observed. Unfortunately, the hatch instantly stopped working, allowing seawater to enter the U-boat. The crew was forced to surrender after it caused the sub to resurface. Incompetence and shame gave birth to the sea monster. 4. Russian Arctic expeditions. The Northern Fleet, a division of the Russian Navy, supports military and research operations in the Arctic Circle, where a sizable portion of Russia is located. If you are even able to land on one of the islands, you will be met by ravenous bears right away. Russian journalist Leonid Kruglov remembers the mission to Alexandra Land. The beast started after us and didn't take even a small step back. Rocket launchers, shouts, and airgun rounds had no effect on him. The bear's extreme hunger has caused them to ignore their natural inclinations in order to find food. However, walruses, not bears, were the problem when they tried to land on a different island in 2019. A big guy could be as heavy as a Dodge Charger. The landing craft was stopped by a hostile walrus before it got to Wilkes Egg Island. It was assumed that a mother walrus was trying to defend her young at the time. The walrus succeeded in getting on board and sinking the little boat. Fortunately, the crew was close enough to the shore for everyone to reach it without incident. Then, the Northern Fleet servicemen came to their aid in a well-planned operation. 3. Attacks on nuclear submarines. The land, air, and sea delivery system for nuclear warfare in America during the 1970s included Ohio-class submarines as a crucial component. The Ohio-class was prepared in case the Cold War ever chose to warm up. Even today, at 18,750 tons and billions of dollars in cost, they are the largest submarine the U.S. Navy has ever constructed. The subs start to experience random problems while at sea, including broken sonar domes, electrical cables, sound probes, and leaky oil lines. There were worries that Russia had developed specialized technologies that could destroy machinery while evading detection. The real saboteur, though, was roughly 18 inches tall and was definitely not Russian. The cookie cutter shark removes chunks of meat after latching onto much larger prey. Since large fish like tuna are frequently brought in by fishermen with circular wounds, we have been aware of the existence of its bite mark for a very long time. However, it wasn't until the 1970s that the conical plugs of flesh these strange animals had taken from their prey were discovered in their stomach contents. Submarines today have tough fiberglass housings to cover their weak points. 2. HMS Brilliant fires on whales. In order to defend its aircraft carriers against Argentinian attack during the 1982 Falklands War, the British dispatched a fleet to the South Atlantic, which included the anti-submarine frigate HMS Brilliant. Whales are frequent in this area and caused a serious challenge for the crew. They frequently appeared like submarines due to the size of their sonar echoes. Torpedoes were fired from the boat as hostilities reached a peak, killing the first 2 whales. A third whale was killed by a helicopter after air support was launched from the ship. Torpedoes were frequently fired in reaction to signs resembling submarines that may have easily been whales. They presented a threat to the boats themselves in addition to causing havoc with their sonar systems. After a year of the campaign, the ship struck a whale, damaging its hull and forcing it to make a second trip back for repairs. Similar harm was done to the whales when numerous more ships hit them. Whales appeared to be present everywhere and became into a serious threat and war casualty. 1. War on orcas. It is difficult to imagine, but even recently, humans harbored animosity for orcas because of false knowledge, folklore, and stories that depicted them as vicious animals. Up until the 1970s, the U.S. Navy taught its divers to steer clear of orcas at all costs because they would attack any chance they got while at sea. Even though these so-called killer whales are capable of killing blue whales since they are born predators, there has never been a documented orca attack on a human. The U.S. Navy was asked by the Icelandic government in 1956 for help in resolving the problem of orcas preying on their herring fishery. In response, the United States sent a squadron of anti-submarine aircraft armed with 50 caliber machine guns, aircraft rockets, and targeting the orcas with depth charges. Similar to this, salmon fishermen in British Columbia convinced their government to place powerful artillery batteries on hillsides that overlooked inland streams. We didn't understand orcas were sociable, clever animals until we started keeping them in captivity. If you're a curious mind who's always on the hunt for fascinating and unexpected facts, then this channel is the perfect place for you. And the best part, there's so much more where this came from. So hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, and comment what you like about, and join our community of curious minds as we explore and uncover the most surprising and intriguing facts from all around the world. Trust us, you won't want to miss a single episode. See you in the next video.